Senator Chris Dodd from his home in East Haddam, and that's where we find Fox 61 political reporter Shelly Sindland. She is live there this morning. Shelly, what do you think we can expect?
Good afternoon, Sarah. Well, we're being told that this press conference is expected to start at 12 or shortly thereafter. Now, what exactly that means in political time is unsure, but we're told that it should start at any minute. What we're going to expect here is that Senator Dodd, after being in Washington for 35 years, will come out here in a few minutes and say that his career in politics, at least, is coming to an end. He's going to be here with his wife. He's going to be here with his two young daughters, Grace, who is 8, and his other young daughter, Christina, who is 4. Now, we're being told that this was purely Chris Dodd's decision, that no one in the Democratic Party told him it was time to get out, even though he has been plagued by low polls and also some controversies concerning low interest loans he received from Countrywide Mortgage. However, we're told that Dodd took some time over the holidays, reflected on things, and that the health care was the crown in his jewel, health care reform that is, and that he decided what else could he do after this. So a spokesperson saying that this truly was his own decision. However, many beg to differ. That's something that we'll get into later on. For now, though, we'll toss it back to you, and as soon as Senator Dodd comes out, we will let you know so you can head back out here. Oh, wait, hang on one second. Hang on. Oh, my photographer thought that we saw him coming, but he's not here yet. So if you guys want to take it back in the studio, we'll give you time to take it out here.
Shelly, you touched on health care reform legislation. Do you think that possibly he could be ending on a positive note?
Well, I guess it depends who you talk to. There's a lot of folks who think this health care reform is bad legislation. And then, of course, there's others who say that now is the time. If it's not done now with Democrats in control of Congress, it won't become midterm elections this year. So it really depends which side of the equation you're on. I think Senator Dodd, someone who's been struggling in the polls, anyone who's an incumbent and has an approval rating under 50%, anyone will tell you in the world of politics that that is not a good place to be. So definitely has not been a great year for the senator. As you also know, he battled prostate cancer. He made that announcement back during the summer. He had prostate cancer, and then he lost his very good friend, Senator Ted Kennedy. So it's been a difficult few months, but we're being told that he's at a time in his life where he'd like to spend more time with his family.
I learned recently that Senator Dodd visited the gravesite of Senator Ted Kennedy recently. Do you think that had any impact, going there to the gravesite, on this decision now to retire?
Well, I have not heard that myself, but I will tell you that Senator Dodd was very emotional when his friend died. I covered that press conference as well, and it truly was raw emotion, real emotion. The senator having to take several moments to get it together because he was fighting back the tears and emotion. He had said all along that he wanted to do this for his friend. Here we go. We have someone from Senator Dodd's office coming out. I would guess that he's on his way out. So here we go, folks. Some family members taking the podium. And again, Senator Dodd coming out to announce that he will not seek re-election this year. So far, folks, I do not see him. I'm being told that he will be here with friends and family, as I mentioned, his two daughters, his wife, Jackie, cousins, nephews, nieces. Definitely a long line forming here. What the senator will say is anyone's guess as far as when he reached this decision. But again, a source did tell me that he took time over the holidays to assess his life and decide where exactly he wants to be at this point in his life. I think Senator Kennedy's passing definitely hit home to him, thinking, well, he's got two young daughters. He perhaps would like to see them more. But then again, those on the other side may tell you that he didn't have a chance at winning re-election. So it's better to get out on top than to lose in an election for someone who's been in office for more than 35 years. Congressman John Larson is here, as you can see behind the woman in the blue hat. I'm not really sure who that is. Any other questions? We're still waiting for the group to come out, folks. So far, no sign of Senator Dodd.
Well, it's interesting, Shelly, because we know obviously this decision was made, days, if not weeks before, and that there at least appears to be some discussion among the Democratic Party and Attorney General Richard Blumenthal, because he came out today and announced that he would be running for Senator Dodd's seat. What are you learning with respect to any discussions that might have been taking place leading up to this announcement?
Well, I spoke to the Attorney General in his home in Greenwich this morning, and he did tell me that he had been speaking with Senator Dodd for the past few weeks. So Clearly, there was some type of discussion going on saying if Senator Dodd did not run for re-election, perhaps Blumenthal would. It's been no secret. He's told everyone. Here we go, folks. Here's Senator Dodd walking out of his home with his wife, Jackie. And that's his oldest daughter. I'm guessing that's Grace. Yes.
Wow.
And Christina. So here we go, folks. Let's take it live.
Ruining the neighborhood here with all these people gathered around. Well, Happy New Year and good morning to everyone. Every 6 years, over the past 3 decades, I've invited you to join me at our home to share in my decision to seek election and re-election to the United States Senate. On each of these occasions, I have begun my remarks by observing that every important journey in life begins and ends at home. Today is no exception. What is different about today, however, is not to announce the beginning of yet another campaign for the United States Senate, but rather to announce that after 35 years of representing the people of Connecticut in the United States Congress, I will not be a candidate for re-election this November. I want to begin these very brief remarks by expressing my deepest gratitude to the wonderful people of Connecticut for the remarkable privilege of being elected 8 times over the past 4 decades to our National Assembly. You've honored me beyond words with your confidence. Let me quickly add that there have been times when my positions and actions have caused some of you to question that confidence. I regret that. But it is equally important that you know that I have never wavered in my determination to do the best job for our state and our nation. I love my job as your senator. I always have, still do. However, this past year has raised some challenges that insisted I take stock of my life. Over the past 12 months, I've managed 4 major pieces of legislation through the United States Congress, served as chair and acting chair of 2 major Senate committees, placing me at the center of the 2 most important issues of our time, health care and reform of financial services. I lost a beloved sister in July, and in August, Ted Kennedy. I battled cancer over the summer, and in the midst of all of this, found myself in the toughest political shape of my career. Now let me be clear. I'm very aware of my present political standing here at home in Connecticut, but it is equally clear that any certain prediction about an election victory or defeat nearly a year from now would be absurd. Strange as it may sound, I'm not confident that I would be standing here today making this announcement if these situations had not occurred. None of these events or circumstances, either individually or collectively, is the cause for my decision not to seek re-election. Yet together these challenges have given me pause to take stock and to ask questions that too few of us in elected public life ever do. Why am I running? On a cold morning 2 weeks ago tomorrow, I asked myself that very question. On the early frigid dawn of December 24th, Christmas Eve, with snow piled high along the streets of our nation's capital, I cast one of the most important, if not the most important, votes of my years in the United States Senate, a bill to fundamentally reform the health care system of our nation. An hour later, I was standing on the Virginia hillside at Arlington Cemetery, where Ted Kennedy rests along with his brothers in eternity, as he is in history, wishing that I could have seen the look in Teddy's eyes as the United States Senate took that historic step an hour before. I thought about the dozens of fine public servants, Democrats and Republicans, who have joined me in serving Connecticut over the course of my career at the local, state, and national level. I thought about the countless Connecticut families, ordinary people with extraordinary courage and spirit, whose lives have touched me over the years and whose stories have profoundly affected my decisions in the United States Senate. I thought about the dozens of patriotic senators with whom I have had the privilege of serving at an institution I dearly love. I have been a Connecticut senator for 30 years. I'm very proud of the job I've done and the results delivered. But none of us is irreplaceable. None of us are indispensable. And those who think otherwise are dangerous. The work to make our nation a more perfect union began long before I was elected to the Senate, and it will go on long after I am gone. Our country is a work in progress, and I am confident it always will be. That's what I thought about as I stood on that hillside in Arlington on Christmas Eve morning. That's what I've talked about with Jackie over this holiday season. And that is how I came to the conclusion that in the long sweep of American history, there are moments for each elected public official to step aside and let someone else step up. This is my moment to step aside. There will be time to reflect in more detail on the years I've spent in public service. There'll be time to celebrate victories and mourn setbacks, share laughs and memories, and to thank profusely the talented, tireless, and numerous staffers, many of whom are here today, who have made my Senate work possible. But that time is not now. My service isn't over. I still have 1 year left on my contract with the people of Connecticut. 1 year from this week, our state will have a new United States Senator. In the meantime, we have important work to do. So a few closing thoughts. I believe in bipartisan solutions, but I also believe you can only achieve those results with vibrant, robust, and civil partisan debate. I'm a Democrat and very, very proud of my party's contributions to the vitality and strength of America. I would never have had the opportunity to serve in the Congress had I not had the support and backing of my political party in Connecticut over these years. I appreciate the passionate party activists who have never, ever faltered in their support of my efforts. I want to say thank you to my family for their tolerance of yet another generation of our family in the political arena. And I'm especially indebted to Jackie for her fierce loyalty, unyielding commitment to fairness, and her unlimited capacity of empathy for the needs of others. She has truly been my anchor to windward in these stormy political waters. Now, there's nothing more pathetic, in my view, than a politician who announces they are only leaving public life to spend more time with their family. The result of this announcement today, I hope, will create that opportunity. But it's not the reason for my decision. I'm a very late arrival in fatherhood, as many of you know. And I'm told repeatedly by some of you here today that these young children of mine, Grace, who's 8, and Christina, who's 4, will grow up very fast. So while these young ladies are not the reason for my decision, they'll be an incredible benefit of the choice I make today. On this, the 6th of January, the Epiphany, 2010, I'm still driven by the same passions that motivated me to try my hand at politics so many, many years ago. And just as I've encouraged the people of Connecticut, I'm looking to the future with a spirit of optimism and confidence. And finally, once again, to those of you gathered here today and to the people across this great state of ours, I thank you immensely for the opportunity you've given me to serve. And I thank you all very, very much. Thanks. All set? Thanks. All set?
I'm starving.
Come on in here, gang.
I'm starving. I'm starving. I'm starving.
Just let me know when. All right, so there you have it. Senator Christopher Dodd calling this epiphany, an epiphany obviously in his life. Talked about the cold Christmas Eve morning when the Senate passed the health care reform legislation, and he said he was walking in Washington and went to Arlington where his friend Ted Kennedy is buried, and said if only Senator Kennedy was alive to see this. It was the only time that Senator Dodd really seemed to get emotional when he was talking about his friend Ted Kennedy and the health care reform legislation. He also said that there comes a time in politics when someone should step aside to give other people time to step up. And that is what he is saying is a reason behind this decision. Not one thing or the other, but accumulation of events that forced him to come to this decision on a cold Christmas Eve night in Washington. Sarah, Logan, back to you in the studio.
Okay, thanks, Shelly.